Welcome back to Reading with Stonsey. Today we are joined by my dog. This intro was supposed to be something else, but someone wanted to make a lot of noise, didn't he? Now this is the intro. Hello everyone, my name's Stonsey Boy and welcome back to Reading with Stonsey. Today we are reading... Seriously, I don't know why he's being so loud today. You guys can't hear, but I can and it annoys me. Today we are reading pages 110 and 1 to 124. My throat hurts because I stayed up all night last night watching the Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fight. That's how you know this is authentic, because this was actually recorded on the 16th. We are only reading about 14 pages today, only 2 chapters. It's not going to be the worst episode, it's not going to be the best. But yeah, so without further ado, let's begin. I apologize for my very coarse throat today. I will take a lozenge after this. Part 3. The Screecher sits near the base of the blue willow. She senses movement. Someone is coming. Her head turns. She sees nothing. An animal with long red head, fur, and 4 appendages. A red-furred animal keeps a step forward. Her scent is familiar. But how could that possibly be? Is she safe? Thwap! The attachment on the Screecher's rear end strikes the ground. She is not sure why. It seems to have a mind of its own. A pungent aroma fills the air. It's not only worthy of its warning. But the red-furred animal is still coming. She moves awkwardly, and there's something gentle about her, too. What to do? Run? Hide? Stay perfectly still? Is this what it feels like to be alive? Will the Screecher ever know anything she needs to know? Will she always be torn between hope and fear? Why is this happening? What curious magic has brought her to this moment? Chapter 20. I didn't dare move. I couldn't bear to frighten the trembling animal away. The familiar scent of a scared Screecher wafted my way. I glanced left and right. The square was deserted, save for my lurk monk, who chitted in annoyance at the smell and ran for safety of the nearby ticket. Behind me, down toward the river, villagers were setting up stalls to sell their wares, and the fair ever hopeful. Before me sat a baby Screecher. My coat was lying on the ground nearby. Here, I could see that the pocket was empty. I had always been a practical sort. I did not believe in magic and spells and things that defied logic. As it was, nature provided many of my mystery. I inched close to the baby Screecher's eyes, huge in fear. It was roughly the same size as the puzzler Connor had given me. It was roughly the same place that I had left the puzzler, and the puzzler seemed to be gone, it was in a huge leap. A giant chasm of a leap. To think that one thing that turned into another. That was how nature worked. Baby Screechers didn't suddenly appear out of the air. It was a female, I decided, based on her small snout and barrel chest. Clearly, she had wandered here from the woods. It was so bizarre coincidence that it all was. The Screecher had made a squeaky noise, a warning to me, perhaps. It was all I could do but not laugh. I had seen baby Screechers before, but the time with my paw a couple years back, I got a glimpse of a moss Screecher with 4 newborns. I backed away lightning quick, and I knew the last thing a ma needed right now was a human intruder. Even then, they were so young, I'd admit that Screechers were odd-looking animals, and the one was no exception. Still, when she tried to take a step and troubled onto her tail, it was awfully charming. Her tusks weren't much to look at, and her tail bristles seemed more delicate and threatening. But I knew she was meant to grow into something fearsome. Where could she have come from? Where was any nest nearby? I would have seen them, or Connor would have. Perhaps the hunter had killed its ma. Maybe the baby has wandered down from the hills, somehow surviving. It's incredibly unlikely, but there had to be an explanation. Poor thing. I had another step, and she gave it what it was supposed to be a fierce growl, like a crabby kitten, and whacked her tail again. It didn't have much effect. The air smelled as bad as it's gonna get, given her size. I couldn't leave her here. She'd be dead by nightfall. I thought of Otwell Boren and shuddered. I knelt down and looked away and backed up and show I was in threat. The Screecher seemed to calm a bit. Slowly, I kept moving away. The baby bustled herself, licking her tail. I circled around until I saw her side of the carousel, mostly hidden by the legs of the wooden animals, and the Screecher's ears pricked up. One of them, a notch it was, in it, just like Connor's puzzler. I couldn't think about that now. She needed a bow tied around her neck, just like Connor's puzzler, and couldn't think about that either. The baby could hear me moving as I reached to pull up my coat, blue unicorn, and she seemed to be distracted by the desire to make her 4 legs work together. I would only have one chance. Deep breath, I took a flying leap off the carousel, stretched my arms out, and strapped the baby Screecher under my coat. If she'd been any bigger, her shrieks would have been deafening. Chapter 21. While she struggled and squeaked, I wrapped her up as best I could. I reminded myself that even though she was young, her tail quills might hurt me. I heard the quills of adult creatures caused a miserable sting and took forever to remove. I held her close to my chest. Shh, I said. Hush, little one, you'll be all right. I didn't want to squeeze too hard, didn't want to crush the terrified baby or prevent her from getting enough air, but I also wanted to keep her quiet enough for me to sneak through the village center and make my way back to May and Bertie's cottage. I could try to cut through the woods, but around here they were thick with briar bushes and a hard time getting through even without having the hold of a squirmy baby. On the other hand, once again, I bore a Screecher perfume, which would make it difficult for me to pass unnoticed. Shush now, I whispered. We're gonna find a safe place for you. Even as I said the words, I realized I had no idea where it would be, but I thought I'd beat the baby. Would it be mother's milk? What if there was a nest hidden away somewhere with more babies, or an injured adult? Nothing I could do about it now. Something scratched my arm, and I realized the Screecher's claws. They pierced right through my coat, not enough to mark, but still it made me realize how powerful adult claws must be. I began to walk, humming softly, and maybe the rhythmic movement or my off-key tune, but the baby seemed to relax. I stayed in the riverfront, where most of the activity was, and kept back a path, but I passed several villagers, a few of them who recognized the council meeting. Look, an old man said. It's the Screecher girl. She certainly smells the part, said the companion. I kept my gaze straight ahead, clutched my coat, and moved fast as I could, ignoring the occasional taunts or eye rolls. As I approached a lane leading from the cottage, I glanced down the riverfront, and the blue willows spouted the brisk, warm wind. I saw no hummingbirds. I did, however, see Connor. He was hammering a wooden stall into place. A stack of hummingbird puzzlers sat nearby in a large willow basket. Quickly I averted my gaze, but not before he noticed me. "WIllodeen!" he yelled. "Wait! I'm in a hurry," I called over my shoulder. He grabbed the basket and ran to catch up with me, even as I increased my pace. "Wait!" he repeated. "I want to explain." A moment later, Connor had joined me, moving in the tandem of my stride. He was breathless and face anxious. "I should have spoken about the meeting," he said. "Defended you." "Why?" I asked. "It's not like it would have mattered." "Because I agreed with you. But my father is... I knew he'd be embarrassed if I..." Connor paused, sniffing the air. "I could swear I could smell Screecher." "Hmm?" I said, holding my coat tighter. I want to show him that what I found, but my confusion of Screecher's origins made me wary. Should I trust Connor? Would he tell his father? Already I felt strangely protective of the baby in the way I suppose a parent must feel about their child. Our road narrowed and grew steeper, and our pace slowed a bit. The baby let out a noise that sounded like a squirrel squeak. It was hard to ignore. Connor frowned. "What was that?" "Just me," I coughed slowly. "Might be catching. You best be on your way." But I stopped. "Connor, it's all fine, really. There's no point of you speaking up at the council meeting, because there's no point in my speaking up. Nobody cares about Screechers. It's the hummingbirds they're worried about, and I understand that I do, but The baby just poked his claws in my neck. I loosened my grip just a tad and popped at a little Screecher head. Gossamer tusk and all. Apparently she was quite enough of my company. She wriggled free, dropped to the ground and squealed, and took off running. It seems she figured out how to use those feet after all. How cute. And actually, the end of today's episode. Well, I mean, not the end, of course, but, the end of this section. But yes. Today we read pages... sorry. Today we read pages 20 to 21. I'm sorry. Pages 110 to 124. Chapters 20 to 21. Next time we'll be reading pages 125 to 143. So about an average episode nowadays. And chapters 22 to 24. But yeah, you guys don't care about that, because that's going to be next episode's problem. Because it's time for... Reading Corner of the Day, doing it up Stonsey's way, Bob. Today we are going to be reading about the Basenji. Honestly, today's Reading Corner of the Day kind of looks emptier than usual. Maybe it's because of this picture here. I kind of made it off a whim, but let's just go... I don't know. For some reason today, it just looks a little more emptier than usual. You know what I mean? I think that should do it. Then again, it's been a minute, so maybe that's why. I couldn't tell you. But I can tell you is, today we are learning about the Basenji. I'm very surprised that this is a hound group dog. It's very small, petite, and kind of stupid looking, to be perfectly honest with you. Yeah, it looks pretty dumb, I'll be honest. But before I can make fun of anything, and before you ever have an opinion on something, or, make fun of something or anything like that, you should know its history. Well, the history of the Basenji is that the Basenji is among the most primitive of breeds discovered in African Congo with pygmy hunters. Early explorers called the dogs after the tribes and owned them in the area in which they are found, such as the Zo dogs or Congo terriers. The native tribes used the dogs, which often wore a large bell, as pack hunters, driving the game into nets. Early attempts to bring the dogs into England in the late 1800s and the early 1900s were unsuccessful because they all succumbed to distemper. In the 1930s, a few dogs were successfully brought back to England and became the foundation, along with the subsequent imports during the cargo in Sudan of the breed outside of Africa, the name Basenji, meaning bush thing, was chosen. The early imports attracted much attention, and soon after dogs were brought in America, the breed's popularity both as a pet and a show dog grew modestly but steadily. But in the 1950s, a surge of popularity occurred as a result of a book and movie featuring a Basenji. The 1980s saw two important controversial events of the Basenji in America. First, several Basenjis were brought from Africa in an attempt to widen the gene pool and combat some widen and hereditary health problems. Some of the introduced a previously recognized brindle color into the breed. Second, the Basenji was recognized by the American Sighthound Field Association as a sighthound, not allowed to compete in lure coursing trials. Its body structures and hunting style has previously been deemed too unsighthound-like. The Basenji has always been hard to categorize. It retains its several primitive characteristics, but nobility, notably lack of barking ability in its yearly rather than twice yearly estrus cycle. So the little guy who can't bark and has a very confusing and strange history. That sounds about right. So if you want such an interesting dog, you must know its temperament. Is it good with kids? Is it bad with kids? I have kids. I don't, but you do. So, what is the temperament of the Basenji? Well, the temperament of the Basenji is that some consider the Basenji to have terrier-like mannerisms. Because of its feisty fur hound, more often is considered cat-like in mannerisms. Clever, inquisitive, stubborn, independent, and reserved. Its hunting roots are very evident, as it loves to chase and trail. It needs regular mental and physical stimulation, lest it become frustrated and destructive. Basenjis may be barkless, but they are not mute. They do make a sort of yodel howl and a shriek, occasionally bark, but just one or two fox barks at a time. It gets along fairly well with the other dogs, but often poorly with other Basenjis. That's very interesting. They don't like each other, and actually, as we can see with the baby picture, they're already trying to fight each other, even as babies. So that's kind of interesting. But now that you know the temperament, what's the upkeep? How do I keep my dog looking good? Well, the upkeep of the Basenji is that the Basenji is an active dog that needs daily mental and physical exercise. Its needs can be met by a long walk followed by vigorous game or by free running in a safe enclosed area. It generally does best as an indoor dog with access to a yard. Coat care is minimal, consisting of only occasional brushing and remove dead hair. Or dead hair. Now that you know that, if you're a child, please close your ears. But if you're an adult or a teenager, please get your notebook. Because the health of the Basenji is that its major concerns are Fascioni syndrome, PRA, and Basenji entropy. Wow, they have their own entropy. Minor concerns are PBM, PK, hypothyroidism, and umbilical hernia. They're occasionally seen with CHD, particular lactation and corneal dystrophy. I hate that word. The suggested tests every other month would be eye, thyroid, urine, or Fascioni DNA for PK. Their lifespan is 12 to 14 years. Pretty long life. Alright, so now the form and function. Who are you telling to cover their ears, Stonsey? I don't have any kids. I'm cool. Well, now you want to know the form and function of a Basenji so you can own it for yourself. Well, the form and function of a Basenji is that the Basenji is square proportion and high on leg. It is more slightly built and longer leg than more primitive breeds. Given a good amount of speed and the ability to perform a double suspension gallop, its erect ears help it locate prey in thick brush and may act as a heat dissipators. I'm stupid. Its short coat also aids in dealing with hot climate of Africa. Now, for the final part of this episode, the tier list. I'm explaining this to you. 5 is the best, 4 is better, 3 is average, 2 is bad, 1 is the worst unless it's grooming. Okay, so the energy level is out of 4, pretty high, is more than average. Exercise requirements, playfulness, and affection levels out of 3. Love, play, exercise, repeat. That's the shirt that this one wears. I don't know why, my throat is sore today. Friendliness towards dog is out of 2. Friendliness towards other pets is out of 1. Friendliness towards strangers is out of 3. That's weirdly average. Ease of training is out of 2. Watchdog ability is out of 5. I think that's the highest watchdog we've had so far, though don't quote me. Protection, grooming, and cold tolerance is out of 1. I think this is the lowest cold tolerance we've had. Goodness. Heat tolerance is out of 3. The weight of a male is 24 pounds and a female is 22 pounds. The average height of a male Basenji should be 17 inches and a female should be 16 inches. I'm sorry, I misread that. Oh my goodness, you guys are never going to believe what we're learning about next time. We're learning about the animal you're going to learn about the next time, stupid, silly, baby boy. So, I hope you guys are super fantastic, wonderful day. Be polite, be efficient. I love these short videos. They're always great on my psyche. I'm apparently not good on my throat. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye. Oh, hold on. No. That one doesn't count. Hold on. Hold up. You guys can't end a Stonsey Boy video without my good bye-bye. I may be dead in a hospital bed one of these days, but I will still give you a good bye-bye. So, bye-bye. Much better.